At Northern Kentucky University. Happy to have you all joining us this evening for what I think will be a great evening of getting to know what we do here in the Honors College, but also hearing from some of our current Honors College students and their perspective on what it's like to be a student at NKU and a student in the Honors College here. What I want to do is start by introducing a couple of our staff members in the Honors College who are here to help add their perspective, but also answer any specific questions that you might have, either as students or perhaps your parents are joining us as well. And so I'll introduce Brittany here first. I also wanted to let you know, we are recording this session and it will be on our YouTube channel fairly soon. If you haven't had the opportunity to go check out the Honors College YouTube channel, we have all the recordings of previous webinars from both this semester and previous semesters on there, or previous years on there. So please feel free to go check those out. Brittany, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. My name is Brittany Beal. I am the coordinator of admissions for the Honors College here at NKU.
And we're also joined tonight by David Keim. And David, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm David Keim. I'm the coordinator for advising in the Honors College at NKU. So.
We're joined tonight by quite a few current honors students in the Honors College. We do honors a little bit differently at NKU. I think the students will share a little bit about their experiences in the sense of what our mission is and how we're here to be as supportive of our students as humanly possible and provide an enhanced and enriched education for any student who really wants to take advantage of it. You'll also notice that our students come from all different kinds of majors and backgrounds. So I asked them to introduce themselves, their major, where they come from, where they physically come from to NKU, but also a little bit about their experience. I did want to put out here, so I'll hit return here real quick. I just typed something in the chat room there. So you can either, if you want to, you can type questions in the chat room. I'll monitor that throughout the evening and kind of ask those of our students. But also, if you just want to chime in, turn your microphone off, raise your hand, yell, turn your video on, whatever. Happy to answer questions that way as well. We want this to be more of a conversation to make sure that you leave this evening sort of with as much information as you need, so that you know who we are, what we do, and how you might fit into our community here. So I'm just going to basically read off a name and then of our student, and why don't we just introduce ourselves and then we'll kind of start a conversation. So Mitch, why don't you start, because you're the first student on my screen. So these are our current students here at NKU.
Hey guys, I'm Mitch. I'm a sophomore now in the Honors College. Feels good to say that because I used to do this stuff saying, hey, I'm a freshman. So I'm a sophomore. I'm a bio major with the intention of going to med school. I come from Hebron, Kentucky, so right by the Cincinnati airport. If you're not familiar with the area, kind of right around there, 20-minute drive to campus, not bad.
Jasmine?
Hi, everybody. I'm Jasmine. I'm a junior. I'm a psychology major, and I am from Grayson County, Kentucky. If you don't know where that's at, that's okay. It's a couple hours south from NKU.
Becca?
Hi guys, I'm Becca. I'm a senior now. I'm a biology major and I come from a town in Eastern Kentucky. It's called Grayson, not Grayson County, just Grayson.
Brianna?
Hi, I'm Brianna. I'm a sophomore biology major, also wanting to go to medical school. And I come from Hopkinsville, Kentucky, which is about 4 hours away. And it's like southwestern Kentucky. It's in the middle of nowhere, but yeah.
Thank you. And Alexandra?
Hi, I'm Alexandra. I'm a sophomore human resource management major, and I'm from Louisville, Kentucky. And I apologize, my connection's unstable, so I might be like in and out of this thing, so.
I think for a lot of us, we're getting used to that over the course of this semester. sort of unstable connections, technology, all of that kind of stuff, in adapting to that. So one of the things I do want to point out, you heard, we have students from all over. Actually, we have students in the Honors College from all over the United States. And we currently have a student in every, I think I'm correct in saying this, David, we may close almost every academic major and program at the university. So we do truly serve students from all backgrounds, all majors, all areas across campus, including weird, strange combinations of majors. And I always pick on Mary McNeil, who couldn't be here tonight, but she has like she's double majoring in physics and musical theater. So you can combine any sort of combination of majors together, and we'll figure out how to make that work with honors. So again, please type your questions in the chat. Please, just jump in at any time if you have questions. But I'll start us off with just a question or two of the students, and then we'll kind of open it up. So so for the students, as you heard, from sophomores to seniors, so as a prospective student, which we have quite a few on this call tonight, what would you say from, go back a few years before you started the Honors College? What do you think what's the one thing that surprised you, impresses you, or that you are most thankful for? We're going into Thanksgiving, so most thankful for that you probably didn't know as an incoming freshman you'd have an opportunity to experience as a student in the Honors College.
One of the things that I'm most thankful for is the faculty that we have in the Honors College. If I need something, like anything, whether that be like something for getting my, when you guys go to register classes, you have holds and stuff like that. I've emailed David at 5:50 in the morning. He's up, he answers questions like, oh yeah, I took care of that for you, don't worry about it. He gets that. If I have any questions, I can just wander into Dean Buss's office and ask him the question, and he answers it right then and there. He goes and he finds it and makes calls and sends emails to go ahead and find it out for me. And it happens within days. Usually that would take a week-long process of emailing somebody way out here, and then they email somebody else, and it takes just so long, my friends have heard. But fortunately in the Honors College, this stuff happens almost instantaneously.
For me, it's definitely the classes I've been able to take. Before I was honors, that's really scary. It's going to be all these really hard academic classes. And then I got in and I'm challenged, but it's manageable because of the faculty. And I'm able to I took a music and power class last year, which was really interesting. And I was able to do stuff that wasn't just with my major, but I was able to have conversations with my peers and learn about something that I was interested in. And this year I'm taking an honors physics class, which I did not think I was going to survive. But now that I'm in it, I really love it. And I'm learning a lot, because physics is not my strong suit, but I'm able to learn things and do well in the class because of just how the class is set up and within the Honors College.
I would say for me, the thing I'm most thankful for is the living learning community where I lived freshman year. For me, that was just the push I needed for the transfer into college, and having friends around and people that I could connect with. It made it a lot easier to transition into college. I would also say the classes, like Alexandra said, the classes pushed me to a different limit. And yeah.
I was just gonna say, in agreement with everyone has said so far, definitely the classes. Since freshman year and before COVID really hit, there was some part of the semester where it was just we're gonna take a break from research, projects, and schoolwork, and we're gonna do some of the things that kind of interest your career paths. Whether it was seeing a cadaver, talking to a neuro professor, going to the neuro lab, some of the things that may gross people out, but I happen to find interesting. And like today, we had a sim lab where we played with the mannequin Lucina, and we had different rotations where we did a simulation birth. Wasn't as gross as it could have been, but it was definitely worth the wait, I would say. So it's just like little experiences like that. Like they understand like a lot of the people in your class doesn't have the same interests as you. So they do the best they can to structure a class for any major, whether it's STEM related or graphic design or anything else that you wouldn't think would be a part of a STEM major, but is. So I find that interesting.
So for me, the biggest thing is definitely the community, kind of like what Becca was saying. My freshman year, I also lived in the living learning community. But even outside of that, like honors is just kind of like my home at NKU, which is hopefully something that all of you will find if you do come to NKU. But for me, it's always been honors.
So let me build upon that that response, Jasmine, and ask a little bit about the community and the different ways in which you guys are engaged. The students here, our 5 students engaged in the community, whether that's from the Honor Student Association, Jasmine, I'll let you plug that, the living learning communities and what that actually means, or even things like the learning communities where you're not necessarily living with one another, but part of a smaller learning community, or any other aspect of kind of that community aspect of the Honors College. What is that like for you? Because I know a lot of students, prospective students who are thinking about coming to NKU may not understand what that feels like, or maybe they're not going to live on campus, or maybe they will live on campus. But how do, and it's also kind of intimidating that there are 600 honors students, right? So how do you find your community within that? So if maybe some of you could talk to that topic.
Yeah, one of the things that I tell my mentees in the Honors College, so like some of the like upperclassmen or whatever you want to call us, we mentor the incoming freshmen their first semester in the Honors College, kind of get them used to everything, adjusted, make sure they're doing well. One of the things that I always tell my mentees is that you will know somebody in your other classes from your honors class. Mr. Keim works very hard to make sure that you have a few students in there that you know, and actually, now that everything's like virtual or whatever, if you look at like Canvas, they have like little people's things so you can see who all's in your class. If you compare those, because I know a lot of the honors classes you guys are still able to meet in person, it looks like. Doing that, some of my mentees have actually kind of met up and made friends with kids that are in their honors classes. They've studied together. That's what I did my first, second semester. Even I still do that now, even though we don't have the same classes because their schedules are so different now. I still meet up with them, study with them if I can. I mean, right now it's just Zoom calls and stuff like that, but you will have friends in your classes from the honors classes that you have, if that makes sense.
Just to touch on the living learning community, when I was a freshman, I got to live in a wing of Callahan Hall, which is one of our residence halls. And most of the students who lived in that wing were also honor students. So it was just a community of honor students that got to live really close to each other. And it just made it very easy to make friends because they're the same people that I had honors classes with. We had a really great lounge to hang out in. And even to this day, those friends that I lived with freshman year are still some of my closest friends. And a couple of them I still study with almost weekly.
For me, just being a part of the classes in general, like gives you a great sense of what the community's like. I was a part of the entrepreneurship community last year. So my Honors 101 class, everyone who was in that class was also in my entrepreneurial mindset class, which was an awesome experience because we both shared those 2 classes together. So we were able to like be really close. And because the class sizes are so small, it it for me, like, it helps with me being more comfortable with conversation, and us being able to like dig more into conversation and get into topics. So I really felt like I made a lot of my friends through honors from my first semester classes, just because there is, you know, a little small group of us, and we shared those 2 classes and that experience of like being freshmen in honors together. So that was a really great, getting a really great sense of the community.
Jasmine, you need to plug the Honor Student Association. So
I was about to. I didn't know if I didn't know what the question was. So I was trying to read it. So like you said, Honor Student Association is HSA. So I'm the current president of it. Honestly, the whole purpose of the organization is to create a community for students in the honors college. That being said, if you do have friends that are outside of the honors college, you can also bring them, because that can be part of your community as well. And it's a really chill organization. Like today we had a meeting and we played Among Us. So that's kind of the purpose, just to like have a bunch of honors students come and hang out together, spend time together, and really let you just kind of be yourself. I wish Katie Clow were here. I love her to death. She actually explained it best the other day. She's like, HSA is really just like a place where everybody is supposed to be able to like be themselves in like their wackiest form. So like perfect example, our previous president, Hannah Brandel, loved vegetables. So it's kind of become a theme throughout HSA, and it's a running joke. So that's just kind of how we are.
and now I'll say, Jasmine, prior to this past year, I mean, we hosted honors trivia nights through HSA where 70, 80 people would show up, and we'd have pizza and sort of a big party on Monday nights.
Thanksgiving dinner.
Oh yeah, Thanksgiving dinner. I cooked one year for you guys and brought in Thanksgiving dinner, and then got in trouble for it, but slipped past the catering services. But we do a lot of kind of community events like that, to sort of to really build a sense of community. David, I wanted to ask you to talk a little bit about the Living Learning community this past sort of 2 years, and your experience there, and talk a little bit about your role with the Living Learning community in Callahan.
Yeah, so in addition to the advising part of my job, I'm also the liaison to the Honors Living and Learning community. And the past couple of years, we've tried to build programming there that includes weekly office hours, and I still do that online. This all through this past summer, actually, I had online living community office hours that students would attend to maintain that community, and still doing that this semester as well. Obviously, hopefully we get to do that in person again sometime down the road. But we've also built in a lot of community exploration, and that includes early move-in dates. And then as part of that early move-in dates, we explore our community as a group of students as well. Last year that involved actually doing neighborhood walking tours, themed neighborhood walking tours of Cincinnati, visiting the Underground Railroad Freedom Center Museum, and also meeting with the Highland Heights city government, including the mayor, the city manager, and the police officers there. And then we had a series of events, both community service to Highland Heights. Highland Heights is the city in Kentucky that NKU actually sits in. And the Living Learning community is right next to the Highland Heights City building, so it's a natural connection. But we also did some exploration of some parks in the region, in the area, to have fun shared experiences and to get to know the area a little bit better. And that's something we've continued as much as we can this year as well. Our honor students did have a kind of a getting to know the NKU campus and area in a different way during that early move-in. And then they also were able to meet with the mayor virtually during that early move-in period as well. So we're really trying to build a shared community experience there, to help just provide another aspect to your experience as an honor student at NKU.
and we love the living learning community. You hear Becca and others talk about how how powerful that can be. Not all of our students live in our honors housing. It's not required. In fact, most of our students do not. They'll commute or live elsewhere. But it's one opportunity that you do have. The learning communities that several students here talked about, we host about a dozen different ones. So everything from pre-med to nursing, to entrepreneurship and business, to pre-law, social justice, community engagement, leadership. These are first year experiences that are around a theme and include some of those co-curricular, extracurricular activities. So I do want to follow this up with a question that one of our Emily has in the chat. And Jasmine, I know you responded to this in the chat, but maybe we could do this out loud. I do want to say for the YouTube channel, for those of you watching at home later on YouTube, you can't see the chat, nor can you see anyone else who's not speaking on the screen. So kind of have to narrate this a little bit. So Emily asked, what is the one class you recommend everyone take, no matter his or her major, because the lessons or knowledge that you took away from that class were so meaningful? Jasmine, I'll let you start because you typed an answer in, but if you could articulate that here on the video.
So right now I am in Myths and Music with Dr. Wood, and it's an absolutely amazing class. Like I said, I am a psychology major, so mythology and music are like not really something that I tend to study. So it's really interesting to like learn more about both of those. But she also teaches it where you learn like different myths and musical traditions from like around the world. So it's not just like ancient Greek and Roman stuff that you hear throughout high school. So I really like that aspect as well, because you learn some cultural things as well.
Yeah, and I'll just add there, and I'll ask the other students. I forgot one of the learning communities was with the School of the Arts. So we also have a theater and arts learning community, and we have faculty from those programs who teach in honors. So Myth and Music's not part of the learning community, but it's an outgrowth of that. For the rest of you, any sort of courses? Mitch, I noticed that you wrote something in here.
Yeah, so I'm only a sophomore, so I haven't really had any like your freshman year, you take honors 101 and 102. Those are required ones. After that, you can either continue on a specific track or do whatever classes you would like to take. So personally, my favorite class so far has been Honors 101. I learned how to conduct research in many different ways and kind of how to really narrow down on a specific topic without getting so specific that you can't find anything. So it's like keeping it specific, but at the same time broad. That sounds confusing. You'll understand it after your first semester what I mean. But really learning how to do this in a fun way. It's about whatever you want to research. So it's not like you're limited to certain things confined within the course. One of my mentees, she's in the Health Science and Public Discourse class, which you would think is like medicine, sciences, and things like that. She actually talked about, I believe her topic was discrimination of LGBTQ plus members in the theatrical world and shows and drama shows like that. She talks about that, and she's in the Health Science Public Discourse class, if that makes sense. And this semester I am with Brianna. We're in a simulations class where we learn the ins and outs of how nursing majors essentially would do their simulations to go ahead and graduate from nursing school to go ahead and work in the hospitals, which is a blast. I love that class. Like even if you're not even related to like the health sciences or anything like that, I think we have a IT major. I don't know what the specifics are. I think we have an IT major in that class, and she loves the class.
For me,
Sorry.
last year I was able to take an honors class called Space, Place, and Identity, and it was actually a study abroad class. So we spent the semester learning about the Netherlands and also looking at how spaces and places that we put ourselves in affect who we are. And then at the end of the semester in May, we took a 2-week trip to the Netherlands, and we each came up with our own sort of question that we wanted to look into while we were there. And it was just a great way to look at how the world that we're in and the spaces we put ourselves in affect who we are.
like what Mitchell was saying, like we're both in the same honors class. That's my favorite class. The professors, I will say, no matter what honors class I've taken, they've been really good about if you communicate to them that I'm not quite understanding this or I'm a little bit overwhelmed with my other classes. Like they do make it a point to be flexible and like realistic, but at the same time they make the class very meaningful, and they help you become more aware of how to conduct research, how to see if the research is accurate, how to source it, and they just kind of walk you through it enough to where they like let you learn to do it on your own, but at the same time they allow you to figure it out. So they're not babying you, but at the same time they're not just giving you the answers. They allow for you to figure it out. And honors is definitely, I feel like that's like the go-to course, just because any major, like Mitchell was saying, could be in it and you could all learn something from it. And each week it's something different. So it's not a continuation of one project.
I loved my Honors 101 class the most, not just because Dean Buss taught it, but I do love every single honors course I've taken, but I think the Honors 101 course was the one that I still use, like the stuff that I learned, like even at NKU and then outside of school and everything, learning how to conduct research, how to check your sources, like I'll use that information with my parents when they'll send me articles and I'll be like, where did you get this from? Like this author also wrote that the sky was pink. He's not a reliable source, like it's stuff that I use all the time now. And I think it's my favorite class just because it was my first experience with honors. And I think it's like really important to learn how to conduct research and check the validity of things. So I did really love that class.
Dean Buss, didn't you have the one student that wrote an entire paper and tried to argue with you about how credible it was, but it was by some guy that was living in his mom's basement or something like that?
Yes, I use that example quite often. So we have another question from Samantha here in the chat. And Brittany, I'm going to turn this over to you about what is the application process for the Honors College, and what is, and then second part of this is what is the biggest takeaway of being in the Honors College for the students. But let's just start with the process question about the application and walk through that a little bit.
Sure. So prospective students can apply to the Honors College during their senior year. So our application is open right now. You can find it on our website, which is honors.nku.edu. So there's a button there that will link to our application. We ask some general information about you, and then we do ask 3 essay questions, short answers for you to provide responses to those. And really they're a way for us to get to know you as a student. So what sort of experiences you've had, what sort of experiences you're looking forward to having in the future at NKU and within honors. And really just a way for us to get to know your interests and what you're looking to do for your future, so that we can connect you with resources in the Honors College and resources in NKU at NKU and in the community. So once you submit the application, we begin reviewing those in January, and we send our first round of admissions offers by February 1st. So I will add that if you are considering applying to honors, I encourage you to apply by January 15th of 2021. That would put you in the pool for consideration for honors scholarships as well. So that's definitely an advantage that I would encourage you to take advantage of right now. And for further information about our application process, we do have an in-depth webinar recording on our YouTube channel as well. So if you just search NKU Honors College on YouTube, you'll find our page, and we have all of our webinars. So there's a full one that we discussed the full application process in detail there that you could check out.
Yeah, and I would say that what's really cool about that particular webinar is we literally went through the essay questions and then talked about what do we look for in a good essay or a good, sort of response to those. So it's really to your advantage just to watch that video to get a sense of what the application process looks like. I do want to say that January 15th is our deadline to be considered for both tuition and housing scholarships through the Honors College. I recommend students apply as soon as you can. The application is free, one of the few times you'll hear that on a college campus. In fact, everything that we do in the Honors College is free. And so we have a lot of scholarship support, both for tuition, housing. Becca study abroad. We support students studying abroad, undergraduate research. So all of those kind of scholarships and activity, they're all free. All you have to do is fill out that application. I suggest students apply earlier than January 15th, because when I read all the applications as they come in, and I can help sort of direct you to other areas where you might qualify for other scholarships that might have earlier deadlines. So I try to do that for every student who applies to the Honors College. Whenever you do apply, I'll read your application and try to direct you in those ways. So the other part of this question that Samantha had was, what is the biggest takeaway for the 5 of you in honors? Some of you are sophomores. Becca, you're a senior, getting ready to graduate. What's the biggest takeaway of being in the Honors College for you?
My biggest takeaway has been that I feel like I'm surrounded by people who truly want me to succeed and that do whatever they can and provide me with all the resources that I need to succeed. So that is the biggest thing that I feel I get from honors.
I definitely agree there. That's the biggest takeaway for me as well. But in addition to that, the thing that I've learned the most is just how to step away from my major, step away from science and biology, and to be able to look at things from a different perspective, and from many different perspectives in the classes that I've taken. So it's given me a break from thinking about things very science-like, and maybe look at them with a little bit creativity or from many different perspectives. And that's been really valuable.
So we have another question here from Annie, who asked, what are some of the perks that come with being in the Honors College? Brittany and David, if you want to talk about some of the just the basic sort of perks that are administrative, and then we'll turn to the students to see if you guys have any sort of what are the things that we're doing that you appreciate the most as of the perks that maybe we aren't thinking about. But David, do you want to start?
Oh, well, in addition to some of the things you've already heard about, like the Honor Student Association, we also have co-curricular events outside of Honor Student Association, including weekly or 2 or 3 times a week lunch and learns with professionals in the community in areas that might be of career interest to you. Administratively, you have access to a second advisor, that's me, looking over your record and making sure you're not taking missteps or trying to encourage you to explore all of your interests and everything like that. We also have a good scholarship pool for study abroad, travel, conference presentations, research, things of that nature, so we can make those experiences more affordable for you so you can really get the most out of your time in college. In addition to the first year scholarships that you apply to automatically with your honors application, we also have continuing student scholarships that you can apply to in future years. You get to, this isn't in your first semester through the orientation period, but as soon as you're a student here in the first semester, you get to register before anybody else on campus, as long as you're an active honor student. And ultimately finishing the honors curriculum, finishing the honors program, you graduate as a university honors scholar, and that goes on your diploma and your transcript. And it's something recognizable to employers and to graduate schools as a way that you made the extra effort to enhance your undergraduate degree beyond the majority of undergraduate students. So that's a big paperwork takeaway. I would also say our program ends with a capstone project, which I'm not going to belabor that point too much, other than this is really your chance to do something that propels you into whatever's next in life, either professionally or academically. And I would think that if we had a group of alumni together, they might say that that capstone project was actually the biggest perk of their honors experience 5-10 years down the road, to get that kind of really in-depth professional experience in an area of your interest. Brittany, what else is out there?
I think you covered most of the kind of big administrative perks. Scholarships are a really big one for students, and parents typically like to hear about scholarship opportunities for students as well. So as David said, those range from tuition scholarships to assistance for study abroad or for undergraduate research, supporting those different kind of endeavors. So those are the things that we try to use our scholarships to really help enable students to take advantage of the different opportunities and hopefully enable them to participate in those things. But students also really enjoy the super priority registration, with being able to register early. So maybe our current students would want to add into that, or if anything, you can think of anything we left out.
I'll just throw out, this is kind of a hidden perk, is that through the Honors 101 experience, you're going to have a professor that knows you really well in your first semester. So if you need any sort of reference or letter of recommendation early on in your academic career, you're going to have a built-in go-to person for that reference or that letter of recommendation, and that can pay dividends on scholarship applications or job applications or other things like that. So students?
So definitely the early registration. It's helped me get the professors that I work best with for my science classes. That's been great. But also just how available the faculty are. When we were on campus, the Honors Lounge is surrounded by their offices, and most of the time their doors were open. So if you had any questions, they were always there to help you out. Somebody was always around to help you out. And even now, when we're not on campus, they email back really quickly, and they're always available to answer any questions you have. And that's been really great to have a group of faculty that are always willing to help out.
For me, what I feel like has been really beneficial was the fact that everything's pretty much student led. Like if I have an idea of freshman, juniors, sophomore, like it doesn't matter the class or anything, but if you have an idea and you put in the work and you pitch the idea, it's gonna be heard, and like we can easily act on it. Everything we do it's like a collaboration of like everyone. You may not see each and every one like on this panel every day, but it's like times like this, like we all really kind of come together and we really support and showcase like being an honor student. It's worth the application time, it's worth the process, it's worth like not taking one class or another interest. It's really worth it to be within the program for me. And I also like how like the faculty here really hear you out. They have on like the sheets if you want to enroll in this class, but it's not offered at a certain time that'll fit with your schedule of classes you really need to take, or it's just not time wise. They'll work with you, and they offer the classes pretty consistently, and they really speak to everyone's interests, and they also help you build connections with people outside of the honors college, and like professionals. Like our lunch and learns have been very impactful. It has helped me find different places to volunteer at, and to build up the program within it. It has connected me to healthcare professionals that I may have never encountered had I not went to a lunch and learn or watched the video of the recording and just emailed Dr. Buss and was like, hey, I seen this lecture. Can you put me in contact with this person? And he goes, yeah, sure. And then he sends me their contact information. And next thing you know, I have the prospect of shadowing a physician or volunteering at a hospital or volunteering in a clinic or at a food drive. So it definitely provides options, connections, and it's very student led. So, yeah.
Thanks, Alexandria. Mr. Khan, correct me if I'm wrong, but don't we also graduate with a minor in honors, I believe, as well?
As the advisor, I'll say it technically doesn't show up as a minor, but it fulfills that same graduation requirement. And I would also be remiss to say, while this isn't the reason to do or not do honors, for students who want this advantage, honors can help you complete some of your general education requirements for graduation as well. So.
But I think you're missing the biggest thing. You get this like awesome brass medallion you get to wear, like this magical amulet that you get to, you know, for the rest of your life, hang on to. So, Alexandra, I know you were going to say something.
So I was just going to say, like, being a part of the community in general, because like I'm able to feel more comfortable, and like sometimes in classes I'm not a very shy person, but you know, like asking questions in class would be hard and stuff like that. But since I'm part of like this small community that I'm with, people I'm comfortable with, I'm able to do things like that. Like my poor physics professor, like I'll ask him if grass is green, you know, like I'm no longer scared to like ask questions and do stuff like that. So I definitely think that the community that honors creates is a huge perk.
So, Gabe, you had a question here about would people be grouped in learning communities by similar majors or a more diverse population of scattered majors? And the answer is yes and no. And so it depends on which learning community you select into. So it's your choice. So I know, Mitch, you said in similar majors, and that's your experience because as a pre-med focus, you were in the pre-med learning community. And so, you know, majors were similar in there. Gabe, we also have a nursing learning community, pre-law. So those are more major focused, or Alexandra was in the entrepreneurship one, which was a lot of business majors or students in the College of Business. But we also have learning communities in community engagement, social justice, leadership studies. And those learning communities really are students from any major. And so there's no requirements that you have to be in a certain major to be in a learning community, or that, let's say you're entering nursing, so you don't have to be in the nursing learning community. There are advantages and disadvantages to being in each one. It's why on your application, we actually ask you which ones you'd be interested in so that we can already start building a tailored program to you to meet the needs that you have. So David, I see you.
Yeah, and I was just going to say that beyond the first year learning community, we hope you do a little bit of both as well, spending time in honors with students of similar majors and getting to know honor students outside of those majors. In some of those majors like nursing and pre-med, gathering those like-minded honor students together so they can form the study groups that Mitchell was talking makes a lot of sense in that first year. But then our hope is that after that first year experience, Mitchell has met and others have met all sorts of students from all sorts of different majors in their various honors courses.
Yeah, and this actually bleeds into the next question from Deanna, who asked about being a nursing major and taking part in a nursing program in high school to become an STNA. Currently finishing those classes. Good luck on Saturday with the tests, Deanna. Yeah, I see some stuff. Good luck to you on Saturday with that. So with you taking those classes, would that affect the way you go about your application? I would say yes and no. I mean, we do have there'll be questions about would you be interested in a nursing learning community, those kinds of things. There's also a section, an extra essay question that is just tell us about yourself. And that's where you might want to tell us about your experiences with that program. Because one of the things that we do, and Gabe, this kind of goes back to your question about the learning communities, part of our application process, and this is why we're different. Part of our application process is vetting you. You know, looking at your responses, seeing what, how you might contribute to the honors community that we're building. But the truth is, the secondary part of the application is really for us to start building a program, an individualized honors track for you that will help you best enhance your undergraduate education. And so that might look different for every single different student in different majors and different backgrounds. So, if you're in that high school program with nursing already, it may be developing a different kind of program for you, or a different set of courses or learning communities that would help you out very specifically. And so that's something that's changed over the years with what we're doing. But so if you're wondering why all those questions in the application are, like check these things that you're interested in, do this, you're like, how is that going to help you decide who gets in honors and who doesn't? It really is helping us develop a program specifically for your needs. Tom and Lynn have a question about what would a typical mix of normal classes and honors classes in any given year look like? Mitchell, I know you've started to answer that question, but I don't know if any of the other students want to jump in to answer. What does a normal semester look like for you?
For me, it's just I take an honors class per semester. So I'll have my normal classes of me finishing up my gen eds and getting stuff towards my HR major. And then I'll have my honors class. But now I'm doing the natural science cohort. So now I'll have like a science honors class each semester.
I know that was true for me until I realized that I was graduating early. And so next semester I'll be taking 2 honors courses, but I think it kind of depends. I think the most important thing though, and I'm sure Dean Buss has probably said this, is that like the honors courses aren't gonna like they're gonna be flexible enough that no matter what your major is, like it's not gonna hurt you in the long run. If anything, they're gonna try their best to help you.
Yeah, and in that regard, we actually will develop courses, even non-courses around your particular situation. So we have honors options is what we call them. So it may be an experience, it may be a study abroad, it may be an internship. It could be a design your own project that help when maybe you can't take that course that semester. We still want you to experience some sort of enhancement of your undergraduate education, and we want to support that. And so we literally every year during our advising period, we have a survey that we send out, and when there's one question like, propose something to us. If you have a wacky, crazy idea for something you want to be an honors experience, throw it out there and we'll see. Sometimes we turn those into classes. Actually, that is where the sim class came from in the simulation center, was students wanted to have access to our world-class simulation center. So we went ahead and developed a whole course around it for those students. And for others, it all depends on sort of your particular situation. That's why I said that makes us a little different. We tailor the program to you and your individual needs, like what will help you out the most. So if anybody has any other questions, please go ahead and add those to the chat. I want to leave some time here for maybe any of the students to want to add anything else to tonight's sort of webinar.
Are we still doing on-campus tours of the honors college? I know that I saw Katie and like Shania and stuff, they're doing tours. Are we still doing that?
There are opportunities to do limited on-campus tours. And our building is one of the buildings that students can access during those tours. So you'll be able to see where the honors college is, even in this sort of limited option for tours. So I would just say that if you come to a campus tour, tell them that you're interested in the honors college and they'll make sure to point that out. And it's kind of in the main walkway right by the neuroscience labs, which have all glass walls. So it's kind of a cool space, one of the pretty buildings on campus. So, but that is possible.
I'll put my annoying plug in here for NKU's social or the honors social media. I run those right now, and I won't be for much longer. I only have one more semester, but I run those right now, and it's a great look into how honors works, and especially like part of the honors student community and what that looks like. So it's NKU_honors, especially on Instagram. That's where most of the stuff I post goes. So check that out as well.
So just to sort of wrap up tonight, thank you to the students and the honor staff for joining us this evening. I'm going to put my email there in the chat room as well. So if you're interested, you can reach out directly to me. Our students here are all student ambassadors and on our webpage. So if you go to the Honors College webpage at nku.edu/honors, you'll find photos of these wonderful 5 students somewhere. Particularly if you go to, there's a big button at the top that says first year experience. And we've left that up there so that you can see as potential incoming honors students what the first year experience looks like. It includes this wonderful team of students here who are also peer mentors for our current first year students. You can see bios of all of them and their contact information and emails there. So you can reach out to any of the students here or any of the other 32 honors peer mentors who couldn't join us today. It's Becca's shaking her head. Becca is our lead peer mentor. So she has to wrangle all of the peer mentors together for over the course of the year. But that first year experience page has our faculty, our peer mentors. We actually have alumni ambassadors as well who come back and meet with students as part of those lunch and learns. I do think one of the big advantages, even this year going virtual, is Brittany does an incredible job of helping moderate and organize all the lunch and learns. So what this is we offer, we have alumni, we have community members, business, everything from CEOs of companies to surgeons, physicians, lawyers, people who lead volunteer services, the mayors of cities will come in during lunch and meet with students. And we record all of those. And Brittany then posts them to our internal Canvas site that's only available to honor students. So you can go back and watch previous lunch and learns and reach out to them and get to learn a little bit about, potential career paths, make connections. Brianna, you said, even, finding opportunities to shadow doctors or to volunteer in the community. So those are a great advantage and only available to honors students through our honors page. That's only for current students, so you won't be able to access that. But when you see the lunch and learns and things like that, you'll understand that that's one of the perks for the Honors College. But go to the Honors College webpage, check out the first year experience website. Check out our YouTube channel. It has a lot more of these webinars, including those about filling out the honors application. I don't remember if anybody was here last year for the student webinar. Jasmine, were you in that one? Maybe not. Becca, weren't you? Did you join us?
Wait, which one?
Last spring. I was just going to say, some of you might see some of the these folks from last year's webinar if you go to the YouTube channel as well. So, but we're here to help however you need help. So, thank you all for joining us. If you have any other questions, some of us will stick around for a few minutes. You can go ahead and type those in the chat room. Thank you all for joining us, and we look forward to reading your application and hopefully seeing you here at NKU. Have a good night, everybody. Maybe probably stop the recording.